My name is Tanner, and I'm not a fool. I know that manners are a way to be cool. It doesn't matter if I'm home or in school. Manners can be really cool. I've seen the kids who don't know how to behave. Nobody likes them when they don't act their age. And nobody wants to be a friend anyway to a silly kid who doesn't behave. I don't wanna be a bully with an attitude, whose mouth is like a trash can lid. I don't wanna be a person who is mean and rude. I just wanna be a cool kind kid. I just wanna be a cool kind kid. Come along with me, and you will find it's so cool to be kind. It's so cool to be kind. I don't wanna be a bully with an attitude, whose mouth is like a trash can lid. I don't wanna be a person who is mean and rude. I just wanna be a cool kind kid. I just wanna be a cool kind kid. I just
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Effective Classroom Management Morning Talk Show. My name is Lauren Marcella, and I will be your host today. Today, I will be interviewing Dr. Peter Ross from Mercer University on his new Boss Teacher Classroom Management Program. Good morning, Dr. Ross. It is so great to finally meet you in person. I understand that you have a new classroom management theory available to us in the education world. I've written a book called Becoming a Boss Teacher, a developmental science approach to running the classroom. I have read your book. I understand that you talk a lot about different types of folders. Can you explain those to us?
Yes, certainly. There are two types of folders. Your personal professional folder. Your personal folder contains ineffective treatments and strategies. It is used by most teachers during the child's growth and development stages. The teacher's personal folder leads them to believe that ineffective classroom management strategies are the best way for disciplining the children that we treat and teach in the classroom setting. Professional teachers who use their personal folders tend to struggle in the area of classroom management. Adults who use the behaviors of children. Your professional folder also helps you to understand and learn the science of child development, motivation, and psychology, as well as helping you understand the intricate details behind behavioral responses delivered by authority figures.
Very good. From reading your book, I understand that when teachers operate out of their personal folders, there are 5 mistakes that teachers make. Would you be happy to explain those to us, Dr. Ross?
Sure, I would be glad to, Lauren. With classroom management, I said stop talking. The problem with said stop talking is that teachers tend to raise their voice, and this is ineffective. Basically, teachers who raise their voices tend to increase complaint behaviors through fear and intimidation among their young students. This results in classroom management failures. Teachers who raise their voices do so to act out of emotion. This emotion is anger. Anger is not part of effective discipline and classroom management procedures. There are many problems with anger.
A teacher has lots of power over his or her students. A teacher's students' angry emotion is used to demonstrate misbehavior and manipulate their teachers throughout the day. Students have way too much power over their teachers, and a teacher has very little power. This also leads to teacher bullying, when a teacher yells, screams, and intimidates children. It's extremely unprofessional and inappropriate. leading to this being ineffective. The second most serious mistake that teachers make with classroom management are you as dumb as you look? The problem with "Are you as dumb as you look?" is that it results in miscommunication problems and issues between the teacher and the student, where the teacher doesn't understand the student and the student doesn't understand the teacher. Basically, teachers aren't successful in communication. This is a very ineffective classroom management procedure. The teacher tries to humiliate her students. The teacher believes that her humiliated young students will lead to redirection of their bad student behavior to good, more wanted, pleasing behaviors. However, this does not work this way in young children. The student will lose respect for his or her teacher, and the student will not comply to his or her teacher's request for appropriate behavior. Student-teacher miscommunication leads to verbal abuse and psychological abuse. It is known as the maltreatment of the child, and no child deserves to be treated in this manner. By stating, "Are you as dumb as you look?" the teacher believes that he or she has free reign over his or her students. These type of teachers struggle with effective management strategies. They resort to any type of strategy from their personal history folder. This leads to paradigm paralysis, where the teacher who uses their personal history folder has a challenging time eliminating themselves from using this folder containing conditioned, ineffective punishment strategies. These teachers feel that he or she has the power to use verbal abuse over their young students during their childhood years. The third mistake that most teachers make is trying to become friends with their teacher. This is dangerous because it results in a continuous classroom management struggle with discipline strategies, because teacher behavior creates a friendship and popularity contest with his or her students. When teachers become friends with their students, it becomes very hard to use management strategies. The teacher, in this case, ends up befriending his or her students, dressing similarly to his or her students, speaking the same social discourse as their students. It's not effective. This is not developmentally appropriate, because students have no interest in becoming friends with their teachers, and the teachers are not the students' friends. This is inappropriate of the teacher to think that they can become friends with their students, because it blurs the boundary between the adult authority figure of the teacher and the child. Children need their own boundaries to develop their own sense of security, and because there is blurred boundaries, and teachers make friends with their children, the children will push limits and tend to manipulate the teachers on a consistent basis. The fourth mistake that most teachers make is, "I'll have to send you to the principal's office if you don't stop that." This is a horrible mistake because the teacher tries to use punishment for stopping inappropriate behaviors from happening. This is very ineffective because the teacher is using idle threats. These idle threats, they only work one time. Idle threats are ignored by human beings, and when idle threats are repeated over and over again, the human beings don't like this, and it's definitely ignored by these human beings. And students don't pay attention to idle threats. When a teacher asks his or her young students to stop a behavior, this is unsuccessful because children's brains don't operate this way. The fifth mistake that most teachers make is I expect you to do as you're told. This is problematic because this is generally used with misbehavior students because the teacher has many developmental psychological misunderstandings. This illustrates that his or her young students know and understand what the expected behavior is, when in the long run the students have no clue what the expected behavior is and they are clueless on this important classroom concept. These type of teachers, they believe that his or her student made the decision to not perform the expected behavior. The teacher expects his or her students to already know how to behave properly, and then when the students don't display these expectations and unwanted behavior, her students to already know how to behave properly, and then when the students don't display these expectations and unwanted behaviors, they get yelled at. The students are shown what to do by the teacher. The students become very confused about what the target behaviors look like. The teacher becomes very frustrated. The teacher ends up yelling and screaming at her young students, and it results in a never-ending cycle in behavior and classroom management.
Very interesting. How do these 5 mistakes lead to conventional classroom management and punishment? Can you explain that to us, Dr. Ross? Elementary school teachers, conventional classroom management believe tend to confuse discipline and punishment. Basically, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the process of adults mentoring with appropriate guidance, learning and modeling and expected processing behaviors at home, school, and society. Schools and classroom teachers use methods of fear, force, artificial authority when they discipline students. These methods of fear, force, artificial authority are present in time-out punishment. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Most elementary school teachers, when using these conventional classroom management strategies, use their own personal beliefs, knowledge, and skills in disciplining children. These young adults were disciplined in some not effective way by their parents when they were children. These adults believe that they have grown up with all they need to know about disciplining their students. These teachers of conditioned punishment, which means these punishment means most adults and teachers must learn the specific script of how to discipline from observing their parents discipline them in early childhood. Punishment is meant to keep unwanted behavior from occurring again. In punishment, most elementary school teachers rely on punishment to discipline children. Punishment is a process where an event serves to get rid of a specific unwanted behavior. Most classroom members some examples of punishment are a teacher writing a misbehaving student on their chalkboard. A teacher students leaving points, it's receiving notice receiving strikes, 1, 2, 3, 3 strikes you out. Third strike, you get a huge punish from the student. These teachers just don't know punishment-based strategies. Additionally, punishers cause many unwanted problems such as yelling, threatening, and grounding, taking privileges away, and verbal abuse. All these problems are performed by the teacher using punishers towards the students. Punishment is one-dimensional discipline approach. Punishment is a effective way to discipline children. It's a weak motivator for all human beings and animals. It has terrible negative side effects, such as young children's self-esteem is lowered. It is a reactive discipline method. Children have lower academic success. Children have lower social skills. Children will gain increased anger and resentment with teachers. With punishment methods that teach children the ways to resolve conflict with other people. And punishers have temporary non-lasting results. Punishment results in increased retaliation and decreased respect for the students and their teacher. Results in increased aggressive acting out in school settings and leads young students to violence and bullying, and also leads young students to an increased chance for adulthood depression. Adult teachers tend to use punishment because their parents used punishment on them as a child and they turned out just normal. And their rationale is that since my parents disciplined me this way, I will do the same with my students in my classroom. Treating young children in this way leads to a negative downward spiral. When teachers overuse punishment, children will develop increased use of violent behaviors, severe conduct problems, and the behaviors, severe antisocial behaviors. Teachers who use habitual classroom management strategy use punishment or military discipline when an adult human being displays anger. Anger is not good because it is a negative emotion. It separates human beings from each other. It results in a poor reaction from other human beings. When people respond to anger, they have explosive, violent responses, almost like their life is going to end. When adults use anger with young children, behavior in this way leads to a negative downward spiral. When teachers overuse punishment, children will develop increased use of violent behaviors, severe conduct problems, and the behaviors, severe antisocial behaviors. Teachers who use habitual classroom management strategy use punishment or military discipline when an adult human being displays anger. Anger is not good because it is a negative emotion. It separates human beings from each other. It results in a poor reaction from other human beings. When people respond to anger, they have explosive, violent responses, almost like their life is going to end. When adults use anger with young children, the adult increases their vulnerability to anger with these young children. And then the adult uses impulsive actions with children. This causes explosive anger and outbursts, and they're unwanted and they're kind of like volcanic in nature and occur out of nowhere. And this occurs in adults, such as teachers, and then teachers tend to become abusive with their anger, and this can lead to emotional damage in the child and hurt. Young children who do not respond well to conventional discipline methods are labeled by their teachers as resistant and oppositional. They do not respond to authority figures well. They do not respond to creative roles well. Non-compliant children get labeled by their teachers as non-compliant children. Receive a teacher's response of increased authority to increase their compliance. Teacher increases their anger to try to increase the students' compliance. These teachers use authoritarian postures and remarks to try to get the non-compliant child to conform to what the teacher wants and expects of the child. There's a never-ending resistance at the teacher trying to get the non-compliant child to conform to conventional discipline techniques. It results in increased authority with that teacher, and it's ineffective in changing non-compliant young children's behavior. The inclusion environment becomes negative because the teacher raises her voice with her student. The teacher appears angry. The teacher gets no joy out of teaching, and then as a result, the compliance frequency drops, and the teacher will have more non-compliant students. An example of punishment is daily, weekly performance feedback forms. These forms are found in classroom management textbooks. These are feedback forms on behavior work non-compliant students. An example of punishment is daily, weekly performance feedback forms. These forms are found in classroom management textbooks. These are feedback forms on behavior as a classroom performance rating sent home for parental feedback. There are many problems with this discipline tool. This sent home negative feedback. Behavioral feedback is negative. These teachers want classroom management, parent intervention with non-compliant children at home. Parents' home intervention will eventually not lead to improved school behavior. These behavioral feedback forms are an example of poor feedback, a student punishment, because there is no connection to better school behavior the next day. It's a form of negative feedback. It results in a negative downward spiral. There are no learning opportunities for the young child. It's not useful, and these charts have one daily performance rating for up to a whole school week, which violates a need-to-see ethics. These behavioral feedback ratings are not shown to the student until the last minute, so they become a surprise to the student. And This behavioral feedback form for home discipline support results in a lack of classroom management. This is not routine for classroom management. These forms also result in negative parental reaction toward their child's teacher, where the parents turn against their child's teacher with feedback forms that are sent home. The parental response is, "It's not my job to be disciplining my child at school. That's the teacher's job. I'm taking this issue up with the principal, a school board member. That teacher does not know how to teach. He should be fired." It is not a good idea to make parents mad with weak discipline strategies as a teacher. Additionally, this tool is very bad because it uses classroom management strategies. Expects classroom management strategies to be delivered in the home, which is not good because in the home there are unexpected things that happen and there's no modification to these classroom management programs. I'm learning lots from you today, Dr. Ross. It's fantastic. Can you explain to us the differences between PFCs and CARs?
It's my pleasure to learn. Basically, punishment and classroom management procedures, they result in PFCs. PFCs is equals poised for conflict, or the children pushing their buttons to that would be the adult authority figure. Children manipulating teachers, children going behind teachers' backs, children trying to trick their teachers, children trying to get what they want from their teachers, even though the teachers said no. The student trying to get back at their teacher. PFCs are the child's response to yelling and arguing from the teacher's authoritarian talk, the teacher's authoritarian conversation, the teacher's authoritarian discussion, the teacher's lecture from an adult authority figure. When a teacher argues with a young child, this makes managing a child very difficult. It makes it very difficult to communicate to this child, and it makes it very difficult to discipline this child. It results in increased competition with the adult and the child. PFCs are an effective way to manage the discipline and behavior of a child. They result in negative results. The adult becomes frustrated and confused. There is an increased competition with children and adults. Basically, the child wins adult disagreements. They beat the adult or the teacher at the argument game, and they got what they wanted through using unwanted behaviors. This is bad, extremely bad, because when teachers enter into conflict with students and argue with them, the teacher is trying to settle the conflict on the child's terms instead of letting the child cool down and talking to the child once his behavior is under sorts. Because that is a better way to do it, because that is dealing with the problem under the adult's control and not the child's control. It's also impossible for non-compliant children to change their unwanted behaviors with their teacher yelling and correcting them constantly and not stopping doing this. Eventually, the teacher gets so frustrated, so angry, that he or she will change the tone of her voice very quickly, and it will become louder and louder when communicating with children who exhibit inappropriate behaviors. This will result in an increased level of the young child's non-compliant behavior. CARs stand for remarks. Basically, CARs are these harsh, fearful, intimidating people saying things about others not thinking, they make sensitive comments. They're very nitpicky. They judge you by everything you do, and your actions and your words, and by what you wear. It's very intimidating talk. It's when parents and teachers are so critical that they hurt their students' feelings and put these students down, or are mean to these students. And can draw students away from a particular group by using really bad, demeaning language. As happened, this type of language is delivered from the teacher to the students. Basically, teachers who pick on their students will use demeaning language, will scream at their students with an angry tone of voice and demeanor. This leads to many psychological problems. It leads to a negative downward spiral. It leads to young children having limited conformity to their teachers' demands, expectations, and requests of them. Cars results in the young child receiving lower grades in school, the young child not being certain about the future in their life, and the young child not making good wise decision-making skills throughout life. When teachers overuse cars, they deliver many unwanted side effects. These side effects include low self-esteem in young children. While young children have low acceptance rates, young children are unsure of their value as friend, student, class member, family member, or sibling. These young children who experience cars on a frequent basis, they lose their confidence. They have very low confidence levels. They believe that they can't do hardly anything. And this also leads to failure orientation. Cars also increases unwanted behaviors. It decreases academic success, and then decreases social skills, and cars is a very reactive type of punishment. There is cognitive distortion with cars. Cars have unintended outcomes. These unintended outcomes happen when there are certain events or tasks that are asked of a child by their teacher. The child does not want to fulfill their parent and teacher's expectations. The child does not want to follow through on the task presented to them, and they display unpleasant behaviors because they feel very threatened and intimidated, and they're very emotionally hurt and don't help anything. There are many reasons why teachers use cars, and basically it is to cover up their classroom management procedures. They are brainwashed that cars is a classroom management strategy, and cars are easy to use strategy and method, and they have no fuss and no hustle. Teachers who use cars don't know alternative classroom management strategies. Cars is when the adult tone of voice raises and raises higher and higher decibels until they are yelling at a child. Teachers that use cars believe that a punitive or harsh tone is needed when using these disciplinary methods. You think that teachers use cars and their punitive, harsh tone of voice when taking privileges away from inappropriate behaviors. These angry, negative, harsh tone of voice discourse. Verbal communication communicates a punitive message to children and that results in increased escalated tension and conflict between the adult in a rebellious manner. Children's overreacting and young children having increased confidence and aggression toward adult authority figures. Children who are exposed to cars very frequently can have increased PFCs, meaning that they want to get back at their teacher. And cars, when used, results in non-compliant young children. And cars is an ineffective classroom management technique. It is an invitation for conflict, and it's an invitation for non-compliance. And their harsh, negative, punitive tone of voice associated with cars when teachers use them results in children. When a teacher uses cars, they react with increased authority to make the non-compliant student comply with their requests. Cars is a type of punitive reaction that increases argumentation and non-compliance in young students. This negative teacher reaction results in increased tension between the student-teacher relationship. It can last an entire academic school year, which delivers horrible classroom experiences for students and their teacher.
Very good explanation on the use of cars and PFCs, Dr. Ross. Can you explain to us how punishment and incidental learning relate to each other?
I would be glad to, Lauren. Incidental learning is an anti-learning theory approach. It's a very reactive approach. Incidental learning takes place as a response to students' misbehavior or unwanted behaviors. Incidental learning focuses on students with behavioral problems. Incidental learning limits the focus on students who have no behavioral problems. Incidental learning is a conventional teaching classroom management approach. Incidental learning involves no scheduled practice or rehearsal of appropriate target behaviors. Incidental learning has no development or perfection of expected classroom behaviors. The feedback of incidental learning is punitive and negative. Incidental learning is teacher-driven. Incidental learning is the complete opposite theory of the learning theory in child development. Incidental learning is an unprofessional practice. Incidental learning is an ineffective reactive practice for disciplining children and process. And it's also an ineffective reactive process for disciplining children. Incidental learning has target behaviors that the adult teachers would like their students to learn. However, the teacher only reacts to students' unwanted behavioral problems as they occur. The responses and reactions to incidental learning happen on a consistent basis. They are hard for children to learn the unwanted target behaviors. And incidental learning does not follow the science of motivation and learning. Therefore, incidental learning is developmentally inappropriate. Teachers who use incidental learning theories believe that punishing a child's misbehavior leads to children learning and recognizing the proper target behaviors, when in reality, children are too young to recognize these important cognitive ideas of metacognition and insight. Metacognition is higher-order thinking skills, and managerial skills in children's themselves. Insight is reflective thinking and self-talk, and again, students' brains are not developed yet and they have difficulties thinking like this. So children have limited insight to process incidental learning at the proper wanted behaviors from when they demonstrate unwanted improper behaviors on their own because they're not developmentally ready yet. Incidental learning offers no opportunities for modeling positive wanted behaviors. It offers no practice of rehearsal of wanted behaviors. Incidental learning has cumulative feedback responses with no connection to the appropriate wanted student behaviors that their teachers expect of them. Incidental learning leads to children with misconduct cognition as higher order thinking skills and managerial skills, and children's brains aren't developed. They can't think in this way, and they can't make student behaviors that their teachers expect of them. Incidental learning leads to children with misconduct problems. Incidental learning is not a developmentally appropriate way to teach appropriate behaviors. With incidental learning, the teacher responds to unwanted behaviors with punitive feedback, and it leads to temporary behavioral changes in students. The majority of these types of teachers pay attention to unwanted behaviors on a very frequent and consistent basis, and they have no acceptance or praise of wanted behaviors of their students.
Dr. Ross, I have learned lots of interesting, knowledgeable insights from you so far. Can you explain to us the problem with these conventional management plans?
There are many problems with weak classroom management programs and conventional classroom management plans. Because conventional classroom management plans are reactive, their main focus is punishment. They offer no opportunities for students to learn and practice positive wanted behaviors. These classroom management strategies are not programmatic, and these teachers have a hard time managing discipline problems with their students. The main focus of these weak classroom management practices is punishment. Punishment is a weak motivator for any human being. Punishment offers limited incentives to correct student behavior. There is no modeling on ways to change behavior from the teacher. These very negative classroom management punishment strategies result in increased problems and teachers attempting to avoid or reduce their classroom learning environment. This type of classroom management strategy results in misbehavior because the teacher is punishing the student, and it is known as the mild verbal punisher. With these ineffective classroom management programs, the teacher focuses their attention on the misbehaved student, and the teacher does not focus his or her attention on the well-behaved student. Teachers who use weak classroom management practices, they use mild and moderate punishment to try to reinforce the bad behaviors and increase the good behaviors. Weak classroom management strategies are reactive classroom management, and with these strategies, 25% of classroom instructional time is lost. Their skills and children's brains aren't developed. They can't think in this way, and they can't manage themselves. Insight is reflective thinking and self-talk, and again, students' brains are not developed yet, and they have difficulties thinking like this. So children have limited insight to process incidental learning at the proper wanted behaviors from when they demonstrate improper behaviors on their own because they're not developmentally ready yet. Incidental learning offers no opportunities for modeling positive wanted behaviors. It offers no practice. They're too difficult. They're too cumbersome. They are manual bound. They are procedure dense. These conventional classroom management theories and programs, it's where the teacher needs to design a large, huge learning curve before success. happens. And with conventional classroom management plans, school administrators hire retail education consultants and conduct classroom management workshops at schools. These retail education consultants sell professional educators manuals, charts, tokens, forms, and checklists to put into their classroom management program. When these retail education consultants come to elementary schools, the majority of teachers believe that this is what the school supports, so they tend to return to their old classroom management practices that were housed in their personal folders within 4 to 6 weeks after this type of classroom management training. Conventional classroom management plans, they result in increased teacher burnout because they are poor classroom management strategies and unprofessional discipline and motivation. There are many problems to elementary school teachers using these types of classroom management theories. Basically, these classroom management theories, they're irrational thought process, and it's part of why discipline is a topic to be talked about in public and private schools today. The teacher does not fully care to do his or her job properly and to discipline his or her students appropriately. Conventional classroom management plans the ineffective discipline strategy because the teacher is disciplining their students without any specific knowledge on discipline. These teachers use a condition to punishment script which is inconsistent with science. It's inconsistent with the best practices for motivating people. And it's frequently seen in adults because these adults are not experts at social science or behavioral theory. And conventional classroom management theories, they enforce punishment and the use of cars, critical authoritarian marks, because the cars attempt to use punishment to stop inappropriate behaviors. This is very ineffective. These punishers lead to reinforcers, and then these reinforcers lead to inappropriate behavior getting worse. And then, with weak classroom management strategies, the teachers are basically asking their students to stop certain behaviors, and this is developmentally inappropriate because the wiring of human beings and children is not meant to stop behaviors. This is ineffective. And punishment-based classroom management methods creates a classroom environment and culture that promotes criticism and negativity. There is no creation of incentives to improve behavior. Punishment-based classroom management methods are a weak motivator to change behavior. They are not effective with extreme discipline problems. Punishment-based classroom management methods will result in misbehaved students testing punishment-based classroom management plans and using PFCs where they are pushing the limits and receiving punisher after punisher after punisher. This increases classroom conflict between teacher and student. These punishment-based classroom management methods also result in teacher burnout, teachers thinking that their students.
I now have a more complete understanding of the conventional classroom management theories that a majority of classroom management teachers use. Can you now explain your new BOSS teaching method, which is based on developmental science, Dr. Ross?
I'm so excited to explain to you the main tenets of the BOSS teacher classroom management theory that I developed by myself. This program is the first of its kind. It's a motivate children. It's an effective way to discipline children. BOSS teacher uses their science, evidence-based professional folder for classroom management strategies. Boss Teacher is an effective discipline method. It fosters complex and multi-dimensional learning concept. Based on multi-dimensionality is a vital component of behavioral functioning. It features behavioral diversity, which means that it supports behavioral diversity, supports temperament differences, learning speed differences, recallability differences, compliance differences, and many other differences in human traits in both children and adults. The boss teacher is aware of child development factors that contribute to successful discipline. The boss teacher is aware of child development factors that ruin discipline practices. Boss teachers use CPRs. CPRs are courteous positive remarks. CPRs are a reasonable communication method and strategy for discipline. CPRs are courtesy statements for verbal communication. CPRs are positive statements for communication, and CPRs are very, very important to use with young children in your classroom. The CPR positive verbal communication phrases are "Thank you, I appreciate very much when you did a great job on, you look really nice and fantastic today, I really like your outfit, I really like that color on you, I really like your hairstyle, you did a great job in class today, you did a great job following your CPRs. Your CPBs. Today. You did a great job on your social studies report. You are an important member of this class. CPR communication phrases are courteous, non-critical phrases that lead to increased compliance among young children with teachers. Increased self-esteem in young children, increased respect in young children for their teachers, and young students have increased interest in forming student and teacher relationships that are positive. CPRs are very important for effective discipline methods. The CPR verbal statements help to eliminate the negative side effects of car statements on children because the CPRs are delivered with a normal, neutral, calm tone of voice. The matter at hand is focused on rules and the positive and negative consequences of following the rules or breaking the rules. CPRs result in very little arguing, conflicts, and non-compliance from the young children. When you're a teacher in a classroom, you want your young students to be compliant with your requests. You do not want your young students to be non-compliant with your requests. The CPRs are a form of praise, which means that they are a form of social and verbal reinforcement and self-esteem and development in young children. CPRs are used by the boss teacher, and they deliver positive feedback, and they are used on a very basis throughout the whole school year, every single school day. And CPRs are not an authoritarian mechanism. The main element for boss to function is positive feedback, positive student motivation, with positive activation and the motivational opportunities made for the students. BOSS teaching stands for behavioral opportunities for social skills in the classroom. BOSS teachers find these behavioral opportunities for the social skills in the classroom. BOSS is a powerful classroom management plan. Its strengths are centered on the learning theory, because the learning theory model in BOSS means the boss is used for discipline. Boss is used to decrease young students' negative talk. Boss has increased productivity, and boss has increased instructional learning time. And with the learning theory model, why it connects to the learning theory model is that the teacher, as you will see, ignores the behaviors. She models the expected behaviors. She gives time for the students to practice the expected behaviors. And then she gives the time for the students to show her their CPRs and their CPBs in class. So, boss teaching also centered on child development, psychology, interpersonal psychology, social skills training, as a community and cultural builder in the classroom, which is very important. Creates a positive classroom environment. Boss teacher is the first kind of classroom management of its kind, and boss teacher is a potent discipline model. There are positive reinforcement strategies with boss that are effective, that produce classroom management results, that reduce punishment-based strategies, because punishment-based strategies, they do not produce any classroom management results. The main motivators of positive reinforcement strategies are boss is verbal praise, privilege earning, and token reinforcement. And then with boss teaching, the classroom environment serves as a training for social skills. This is a very important ingredient for teaching young children in the classroom and managing the classroom as a teacher. This social skills training of boss teaching is an effective classroom management theory, and it results in the continuous use of proactive and pro-social behaviors from the teacher, which are cooperation, kindness, politeness, and complaint behavior. Boss teacher operationalizes social skills training. Boss teaching is designed for the classroom teacher. That's amazing, isn't it? Boss teacher is different because this focuses on social skills training and increasing self-esteem, whereas current conventional classroom management plans lack teacher-friendly design, and they do not teach social skills training. The main focuses of boss teaching is very positive because it results in increased level of student compliance when we have boss teachers, and boss teachers have very frequent positive reinforcement, and they use every single aspect of boss, and they use boss every single school day during the whole entire school year, during the whole entire school year. And then when we have boss teaching, the boss classroom management theory results in young students learning their teachers' pleasant, positive, and wanted behavioral expectations for their classroom. Boss teaching creates positive social behavior in the classroom, and then boss teaching to the teacher, your classroom culture. The teacher's classroom culture will support proactive social behaviors.
Okay, Dr. Ross, what are the boss classroom management plan steps and effective ways to teach positive and wanted behaviors?
Well, Lauren, the boss classroom management theory steps that teachers follow are ignore inappropriate behaviors. They choose not to be reactive to inappropriate behaviors. Boss teacher response opportunities are very consistent and happen very many times throughout the school day. Every school day. During the whole entire school year. And these response opportunities of boss point out the wanted behaviors to the teacher's students. Boss teaching and their teachers, they punctuate and express wanted behaviors with positive emotion, enthusiasm, excitement, and joy as they happen in the classroom setting. Boss language is only 25% of your verbal communication with your students. And then the teacher who uses both throughout the school day, every single school day of the school year, they talk about their wanted behaviors, they reinforce their wanted behaviors, they model their wanted behaviors, and they embrace the boss-teacher credo or philosophy that says if you want to get it, you must teach it. You must do rather than don't, and it's easier to do than don't do. So boss is the do, and many conventional classroom management theories is the don't. There are four effective ways to teach positive wanted behaviors using boss. The first one, these come off of the learning theory. The first one is the modeling and demonstration of expected behaviors from the teacher to her students. The second one is that the teacher asks her students to practice the expected wanted behaviors many times. The third one is that the teacher gives feedback about her young students' performance of wanted positive behaviors.
So, Dr. Ross, what is the boss teacher script? Can you share that with us?
I would be happy, more than happy and glad to share it with you. I am so excited to talk about my boss teacher script with the news anchor. So this is how the boss teacher script works, is that first the classroom teacher or boss teacher states, "Today, class, I will be looking for polite and cooperative behaviors, known as CPBs." Then the boss teacher will help her students in defining polite behavior. Then the boss teacher will help her students in defining cooperative behaviors. And then the boss teacher finds time for her students to show and demonstrate cooperative behaviors throughout the school day, and the teacher uses frequent compliments on a consistent basis to compliment the students on all the CPBs that they did throughout the school day. Then the boss teacher will repeat step 1 for 2 days. After 2 days, on the third day, the boss teacher asks for student volunteers at the end of the school day to explain to the class how they were cooperative or polite. Then the boss teacher kindly requests student acknowledgement of classroom friends' pro-social behaviors. Then the boss teacher will repeat steps 1 and 2 for 2 more days. After 2 more school days pass, the boss teacher will kindly ask her students to name another classroom friend who showed CPBs for the school day. Then the boss teacher provides guidance to this classroom friend of a student by boss teacher acknowledging the student's friend's pro-social behaviors and thanking, and the boss teacher thanks her students for volunteering other classroom friends. Then the boss teacher will repeat steps 1, 2, and 3 for 2 more days. After 2 more days have passed, the boss teacher tells her students that they should compliment each other during the school day and not wait for her to show her CPBs. So instead of waiting until the end of the school day to show me your CPBs, because I may be busy during the day, you need to compliment your classroom friends who show CPBs throughout the school day, and I will notice everybody's CPB behaviors from visual observation, even when I'm busy in my classroom. Following these steps as a boss teacher will result in a classroom culture that focuses on positive communication and
the fourth one is that after many days and months of class-wide discipline, students
that focuses on positive communication and acknowledgement.
Dr. Ross, your boss teaching methods are fantastic, proactive, pro-social, and positive classroom management solution to the reactive, negative, not so bright conventional classroom rules of those. It is interesting though, because I'll teach CPBs every Sunday at Sunday school to my kindergarten students. I've learned something new. It's amazing. Dr. Ross, can you explain the technical principles to use boss teaching without using the formal boss teacher script? And can these alternative boss teacher ways produce the same result as the boss script?
Yes, Lauren, I can help you out with this question. There are 3 alternative ways to use the boss teaching method for classroom management. These alternative boss teaching methods is tokenism. Tokenism problems have 2 levels. The first level involves earning tokens in many specific ways for specific wantings: play money, marbles, beans, stickers, and paper strips. These tokens are symbolic, tangible reinforcers for a young child, and it motivates this young child. When using tokens or symbols of tokens, it is important that the teacher makes sure his or her students are responsible for his or her own tokens by providing each student with a Tupperware Ziploc round bowl container. These containers come in many shapes and sizes, are easy to find in stores like Target and Walmart, and they are very inexpensive for teachers who are trying to conserve money. Then the teacher will award tokens to young children on a very frequent, consistent basis. When a young child performs the teacher's wanted target behaviors that the teacher expects of their students. It is important for boss teachers to award tokens whenever wanted target behaviors occur, because if a boss teacher does not use tokenism in this manner, the tokenism program will not work because the teacher is not rewarding many good target behaviors. Using tokens as a reward with young children, it serves as a form of praise as well as a social reinforcer. When boss teachers use tokenism, it is important to have a reinforcement store with backup reinforcers that students can view a couple times per week, and then at the end of the week to receive a prize for the amount of tokens they earned on a Friday. The boss teacher can create a reinforcement store out of a file cabinet. The bottom level of the file cabinet will be the lower valued items. The medium shelf of the file cabinet, the reinforcement store, will be the medium valued items. And the top store of the reinforcement store of a file cabinet will be the higher priced items. The reinforcement store is just like any store. It houses a large selection of items that suits the interest levels of boys and girls at the elementary school age. These items would include pencils, stickers, lip smackers, and toys that both of these genders would enjoy. Each of these items in the reinforcement stores have a point value assigned to them. Some of these items will be of lower value. Some of these items will be of higher value. Tokens or symbols of tokens also have specific point values assigned to them. Your young students can spend any amount of their tokens on a prize, or they can save their tokens for another visit to the reinforcement store in another week. Also, from time to time, you need to refresh the reinforcement store or have a sale on the items in the reinforcement store to avoid satiation effects. Tokenism programs have many positive results, such as positive affirmation, and it serves as an additional motivator for students who struggle academically and have mental health problems. Tokenism improves young students' behavior in the elementary school classroom because this program increases students' motivation, it changes students' behavior, and it results in improved compliance, social skills, and academic skills among young children. The second alternative boss teacher program is CPB drawings. CPB drawings work like this. The boss teacher ignores unwanted behaviors, and young students develop social and academic skills. Then the boss teacher states, "Class, today I am looking for you to show me your CPBs. When I see you demonstrating your CPBs, you will create your own apple by drawing it on you're the apple of my eye, CPB tree. After you are drawing your apple, you can paste your initials inside of your apple drawing. The results of CPB drawings are that the culture speaks for itself. A boss teacher is you're the apple of my eye. CPB tree drawing serves as a tangible reinforcer to explain to family, friends, and teacher colleagues what boss teaching is all about. These drawings serve as a memory of your boss teaching experience. You need to save these forever. And CPB drawings, they do not use profound and inappropriate language. And then CPB drawings, they increase respect for the boss teacher, and the boss teacher serves as the authority figure of the classroom. CPBs are not a punitive form of conventional classroom management methods. And then the third alternative boss teacher method is the cousin of tokenism. The cousin of tokenism uses a 3x5 note card for each student in your class. The boss teacher will create a grid on this index card with 8 squares. When the boss teacher's young students demonstrate CPBs throughout the school day, each student can pick a sticker or a stamp, one sticker or one stamp of their choosing on one grid square. This will happen very frequently throughout each school day and during the entire school week from the entire school year. There will be different values for each square grid a student fills with a sticker or a stamp. For instance, 2 square grid tokens will be worth 3 points. 4 square grid tokens will be worth 6 points, and 8 grid tokens will be worth 10 points. Students can trade their index cards in for an appropriate prize depending on how many points he or she earned. These prizes can range from Dunkin' Donuts for the whole class, a pizza party for the whole class, cupcakes for the whole class, ice cream for the whole class, and watching a movie with popcorn for the whole class. This only works if the whole class decides to combine their CPB points together for one large prize or reward at the end of each week. Individual CPB point prizes would include gum, stamps, large candy bars, pencils, small trinket toys, pods of paper, and erasers. This alternative boss teacher CPB method produces the same results as tokenism, which are positive affirmation. They motivate students who struggle academically and socially, and have learning difficulties and mental health problems, and it improves the behavior in classroom settings. With this type of program, young students' motivation increases, young students become much more compliant, and
That's great, Dr. Ross, that there are fun and exciting alternatives and student social and academic motivators to your boss teaching philosophy. When I was a little girl, I struggled with ADHD at the young age of 4. I remembered my parents using the tokenism discipline method. This method was very effective in managing my mental health condition and helped me focus on my academic classes and skills because I knew that I was going to do something that I enjoyed after completing all of my schoolwork for being compliant and following through with my parents' tasks and my school expectation tasks. To this day, and I'm now 25 years old, I still use the basic components of tokenism to help me manage my ADHD by telling myself that if I get these specific items accomplished during the day, I can watch TV and spend time with my family. Or if I get X, Y, and Z accomplished during the day, I can attend Bible study with my friends who are girls. It is very reassuring and refreshing to hear the science behind this positive discipline and motivation practices of like tokenism, CPB drawings, and the cousin of tokenism work to manage behavior. I have one final question for you, Dr. Ross, because our time is coming to a close. What are the benefits to your new boss teaching approach?
Well, Lauren, boss teaching has many positives. Boss teaching is user-friendly. There are no extra parts to boss teaching. Boss teaching is administrator-friendly. Teachers who use boss are successful because they agree to follow the 5 basic boss steps. The boss steps or scripts of a boss teacher are strong positivity strength statements of verbal communication. They result in a sense of belonging. They make the classroom culture and environment a safe, positive, and improves social and emotional functioning. This results in comforting young children and make young children interested in learning. Boss teacher results in an improvement of young student positive outlook and the positive outlook on learning. Boss teacher results in an improvement of young student positive outlook and the positive outlook on the boss teacher because that decreases teacher burnout. And then the boss teacher makes time for total student participation in this classroom management theory, and there is no singling out of well-behaved and poorly behaved students. Boss teacher has strong transfer of results because the boss teacher classroom behavior can be repeated in home environments. Boss teaching generalizes pro-social skills. Boss teaching delivers positive behaviors. Boss teaching develops good behaviors. Boss teaching generalizes pro-social results. Boss in the classroom. Boss can teaching in the classroom, but also in some boss teaching like CPBs can be used in the lunchroom, media center at home. And it's important that the boss teacher with this is the boss teacher asks their students, what do CPBs look like in the lunchroom? What do CPBs look like in the media center? What do CPBs look like at home? And then boss teaching is based on science and evidence-based practice. Boss teaching commits the professional educator to transform their thinking from their personal behavior folder to their professional science evidence-based folder. Boss classroom management philosophy theory is a true proactive plan and strategy. It results in positive reinforcement. Boss classroom management, boss teacher begins and ends each and every school day of the school year with a classroom culture centered on and test taking. With boss teaching, 0% of classroom instructional time is lost. It's a great time management. Boss teaching has increased pro-social student skills because that is an expectation of boss teaching. It's pro-social student skills is rehearsed in boss teaching. This is a positive learning environment which results from boss teaching. Boss teaching results in a socially mature learning environment, and boss teachers use steps 1 through 4 of the formal boss teacher script on a very frequent and consistent basis. Basically, every single school day, every single week of the school year. And then boss teaching, it pays dividends because if young students, there are decreased conduct problem, there are decreased discipline referrals with your young elementary school students, there is decreased bullying among your elementary school students, especially boys. Boss teaching is an effective anti-bullying program. Boss teaching gets rid of negative unwanted behaviors. Boss teaching's target behavior is focused on pro-social behaviors. Boss teaching does not support bully behavior. Boss teaching builds social skills because boss teaching is a pro-social skill. The pro-social skill develops through practice and feedback, and the pro-social skill gets rid of bully behaviors. These pro-social skills lead to increased student achievement, and boss teacher, it leads to increased student achievement. Boss teacher target behaviors focus on paying attention to increase young children, to increase young children's effective completion of classwork, to increase young children's self-checking of completed work, to increase young students' entire letter grade improvement to my 1 grade higher. And boss teaching eliminates conventional classroom management problems and makes you love and enjoy your job again because you are less frustrated and you are receiving successful behavioral results among your young students.
Wow, Dr. Ross, I learned a lot from you on approaches to classroom management. I am impressed. You have convinced me to use the boss teaching classroom management theory in my future classroom in 2016. Thank you for coming on my show.
Lord, it was my pleasure to come on your show. I really enjoyed explaining my boss teacher classroom management theory, and I'm glad that you learned some important tenets of boss teaching today.
Well, everyone, you know what that sound means. We've ran out of time. Oh no! Oh well. Well, thank you everyone for joining me for another episode of Effective Classroom Management. Until next time, toodaloo!
Their personal behavior folder to their professional science evidence-based folder on boss classroom management philosophy is a true proactive plan and strategy. It results in positive reinforcement. Boss class.
My name is Tanner, and I'm not a fool. I know that manners are a way to be cool. It doesn't matter if I'm home or in school. Manners can be